Merikare was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh of the 10th dynasty, lived towards the end of the First Intermediate period. His name can't be recognized in the Turin king list, also his dates are uncertain. Reign. According to many scholars, he ruled at the end of the 10th dynasty following his father's long reign in his middle age. The identity of his predecessor is still a question of debate among Egyptologists. Some scholars tend to identify Merikare's predecessor with Waqari-Kati. These Sabate, possibly composed under the reign of Merikare himself and fictitiously attributed to his father, are a collection of precepts for good governance. The text also mentions the eastern borders, recently secured but still in need of the king's attention. In the text, Merikare's unnamed father mentions having sacked Thinis, but he advises Merikare to deal more leniently with the troublesome Upper Egyptian realms. Once coronated, around 2075 BCE, Merikare wisely resigned himself to the existence of two separate kingdoms and tried to maintain the policy of peaceful coexistence achieved by his father. It seems that the period of peace brought a certain amount of prosperity to Merikare's realm. Sometime later, the pharaoh himself was forced to sail up the Nile with his court on a great fleet. Once he reached Asiyut, the king installed the loyalist Nomarch-Kati II, who succeeded his deceased father Tefibi. After this installation, Merikare advanced farther upstream to the town of Shashotep, likely to quell a revolt, and at the same time as a show of force to the turbulent southern border areas. Merikare died in c. 2040 BCE, few months before the fall of Heracleopolis. Thus, the final defeat by the hand of the Thebans, led by Mentuhotep II of the 11th dynasty, was likely inflicted upon an ephemeral, unnamed successor. Burial. Many sources suggest that Merikare was buried in a yet undiscovered pyramid in Saqqara, called Flourishing, the abodes of Merikare. That had to be near to the Pyramid of Teti of the 6th dynasty. The titles of the officials involved in its construction are documented, as his funerary cult endured into the 12th dynasty. In fact, Merikare's cartouche appears on the stelae of at least 4 priests who were responsible for the funerary cult of Teti and Merikare during the Middle Kingdom. Attestations. Merikare is the most attested among the Heracleopolite rulers. His name appears on the teaching for King Merikare. A wooden scribe pallet belonged to the Chancellor or Kaukati, found in a tomb near Asiyut and now at the Louvre. The inscriptions from the tomb of the Nomarch-Kati II, in Asiyut. 9 stelas attesting the existence of his pyramid and his funerary cult in Saqqara. Hypothesis of an earlier reign. In 2003, the Egyptologist Arkady F. Dmitrich suggested that Merikare's placement within the dynasty should be reconsidered. According to him, if Merikare reigned during the campaign led by Mentuhotep II, then the former's pyramid and its cult couldn't have survived the Theban conquest. Again, Merikare likely would not be able to obtain granite from the south as mentioned in the teachings. Dmitrich also argued that the battles for Thinis mentioned by Tefibi and Merikare were the same fought, in the opposite front, by the Theban ruler, Wihankintif II, thus suggesting that Merikare's reign should be placed some decades earlier than usually thought, when the 10th dynasty's power was at its peak. Sayings. The pharaonic institution is the perfect way to govern. He who rules over the 2 lands is a wise man. As master of the nobility, Pharaoh cannot be an ignorant man. He was already wise at his mother's breast. Since God has chosen him from millions of men, the companions of Pharaoh are the gods. Pharaoh is he who increases wealth and knows how to give. Pharaoh is the Lord of joy.